Hello everybody, and welcome to the director's cut of my Modern Warfare 2 runs analysis thing. I haven't really decided what I'm going to call this video yet, but basically I'm going to be going through and analyzing the speed run for some of the special ops missions in Modern Warfare 2, and I will be explaining and describing what's going on and why, so hopefully anybody, and obviously I'm not an expert, I haven't gotten the world record, I don't even know what a speed run of this looks like, but I've played a lot of these missions for hours, I know them pretty well, so I'll go through and explain my knowledge and what I know based off of my experience playing them. So, I guess we'll go through and start off with the video. Well, we're going to start with the video. So as you saw right there, one thing I had to get really good at is rage restarting. You press menu up A, or sorry, menu up A, right? Because it's not the last one. Yeah, because it's the second to last one, right? Because I need to go to, restart mission, and then I have to press it. I obviously got really good at it, so I was able to do it very quickly. Thankfully, the Modern Warfare 2 menus are very, very accurate, so yeah. Or the menus are very responsive. So, to start off with, traditionally, it was a good idea for me to switch to the shotgun, because you start off with the M4 as your primary, and the M4 as your secondary, but ching. Get it? Because it's the M4A1 and the secondary is the Benelli M4, as it's called in the German edition, but in the American edition, or the English edition, I guess, it's called the M1014, because that's the US designation for it. But it is interesting that technically you have an M4 and an M4. Anyways, yeah, so to start off with, as you saw here, I start to run immediately, and once I do a jump or so, once I can see my screen, I start to sprint before. I'm also going to lower the volume, I reckon. Yeah, so I switch to my secondary shotgun before I get to this, because if I do it too late, then it'll say, hey, you're not ready, and we'll see that later in the video, but yeah, I gotta switch to it very quickly. Zivile Geiseln bei ihrer Position. Vorsicht beim Schießen. So, that was simple. You go in, you shoot 2 shots, you don't really need to aim. You aim a little bit further to the left, and then you aim more to the right. It's super simple. Doesn't require that much intuition. And you have to try not to shoot the shotgun, the hostage. There's a number of different strategies in which weapon to pick up. Sometimes I'll pick up the weapon on the desk, which in this case happened to be the Vector. Sometimes it'll be the P90 though, and the P90 is preferable. Or you can just pick up the USP with the tack knife, because it allows you to run faster and get faster melees. Generally speaking, you do keep your shotgun though. So you throw a stun in here. This specific gate takes a specific amount of time to open. I think it's like 10 seconds. I disabled the timer here by accident. I like to have it there normally, but I disabled it by accident. But anyways, once the timer hits about 10 seconds, or once you start to see this gate moving, yeah, the second I saw the gate moving, that's when I threw the stun grenade over the barrier. I went in here, got a couple kills with the shotgun. Now, in this particular instance, I got very lucky, because normally that would be an extremely sloppy run. I would probably restart from this point, but I noticed that there's not a guy at the top of the stairs right here, which is very rare. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I might be able to get this to be a personal record. And indeed, this was a best record. So I go pick up the striker, which is in the middle of the doorway. I throw a stun. I'm able to run past these guys who are all stunned. I go up here because there's a lot more cover. I realized there's no enemies. I switched to my shotgun Because normally there's like a bunch of guys over here, specifically a guy at the top of the stairs right there, but there just happened to not be a guy there for some reason. And there's nobody over here either. Like, this is very, very rare that this happens. I've played this mission like at least 200 times. That was the only time I've ever seen people not spawning there, and I don't know what causes it. I don't know why that's the case, but it was the case. So you simply run around this little deck, jump over that, and if you get to this door fast enough, then when you breach it, you don't have to kill the enemies, it'll automatically end the mission. So as you can see, I got a 57.8. That is so far my best record. Despite how sloppy the beginning was, I got very, very lucky with the spawns of the enemies so that I could just run and I didn't have to worry about getting killed. So it's a shame because the beginning of the run was so bad. I probably could have gotten it at like 55 seconds had it not been so sloppy. But yeah, unless if I get this lucky again, I don't imagine I'll be beating this record anytime soon. So yeah, I go from a new best record here, and I restart it. As you can see, it was 129. So I restart it, and go immediately right again into it. So I didn't play this mission as much, because this mission is relatively straightforward. I only played it for like an hour or so. So I went around to the right side, I killed these guys right here, go to defuse the bomb. You're generally pretty safe with defusing the bomb. It does not take that much effort. So you just run back. It's generally wise to reload your Glocks. You're going to be sticking with them for a bit. Yep, you're going to keep running. This one's relatively straightforward. You go and defuse this bomb right here. So you can jump out the window, right, or jump out the balcony over here, or you can go around to the left side. I decided to go to the right side because, although it's technically a little bit longer, it is safer, and I so far had a really good time, and I wanted to ensure my safety. So you got to kill at least two of these guys. I killed one right there, and I killed another one right there. So once I realized I killed two of those guys, I knew it was safe to defuse, because if you don't kill them, they will lay into you and kill you before you get to defuse the bomb, because they're the closest and they have the most accurate fire. All the other people generally aren't accurate enough to be able to kill you fast enough. So this was a really good run, as it was my best run. And yeah, 115, really good run. So once again, another rage quit to start off. So with this one, unlike some of the other missions, you get to spend, well, I mean, with a lot of the missions, you get to spend a little bit of time to select what weapons you want. In this case, it actually matters because you're best off not going with the shotgun in this case. You're best off going with the MP5 SD because it has better range and better killing potential, plus you don't really need the heartbeat sensor. And you would definitely want to have a secondary pistol because it makes you run faster. So there's a guy right here to the left. I killed him. I switched to my pistol, set the explosives on that helicopter. I run to the right because it's generally faster. I placed this C4, I killed this guy and that guy right there. You don't necessarily need to, but they generally won't cause any problems if you kill them. You can kill those guys there, right too. They're right there as well if you want to. Normally these guys don't get as close. It was actually very unlucky that they got as close as they did, but yeah. And yeah, that was a really fast run, only 48 seconds flat. Really good, really good. Okay, so this mission, there's a lot of complications to it. I spent a long time trying to run this mission and get it as good as possible. So there's a number of different strategies. One that involves you going over here to the left and picking up the RPD if that guy spawns, but that guy sometimes doesn't spawn. It's random. It's random whether or not he'll spawn there or not. So I generally stuck with the strategy where you pick up the double mini Uzis and you fire and empty your magazine with the left Uzi, and then once you're reloading, you switch to shooting with your right Uzi, and you keep doing that back and forth so that you are constantly having the ability to fire upon enemies. And unlike, let me also point this out, right? Unlike in some of the other missions, this isn't a time-based mission. Like, it's not like you get to a specific location within a certain amount of time. You have to kill as many people as possible in as quick amount of time as possible. So basically, anybody you can see, you should kill, because that's the goal. The goal is to kill. It's not to get to a specific location, unlike all the other missions we've done so far. There's always going to be guys behind a number of different, in like 3 different locations. There's going to be guys that shoot behind, like right here, right? You have this door. There's going to be people that shoot behind, from behind this, and they're in cover, and those guys are consistent. So, as far as I'm concerned, these are the only enemies that are consistently spawning, and every single time they will spawn behind this door, and wildfire, hipfire shooting from behind the door. So these are 3 consistently spawning enemies that you can kill every single time. So yeah, I pick up the mini Uzi, accidentally killed the civilian. So I empty my right Uzi. While I'm reloading, I shoot my left Uzi. There's the other location for where that guy is. That's the second location of the consistently spawning guy. And that's the third, right? There's a guy behind that door, so that's the third one. Generally speaking, in this area, there's 3 enemies. In this case, I got unlucky. There was only 2. And the rest of this, by the way, is mostly just me winging it, like trying to look for enemies. There's not a lot of very consistently spawning enemies. A lot of the time, let me say, relatively consistently spawning. Like, there's some enemies that'll be there most of the time, but other than those 3 people that I mentioned earlier, nobody ever 100% spawns in a location every single time. So going for a location can be risky. And so yeah, I got another best time back-to-back. I think it was back-to-back, right? Let's go back and see if it was back-to-back. I actually don't remember. No, it wasn't. It was not. I remember. I failed. Okay. So, yes, that was it. That was the time I got. 1:19:25. Pretty good. Currently my personal best. I know I can definitely improve upon it easily, but yeah. So these next 2 runs are not my best time. But at the time they were my best time, which is why I recorded them. But then I got better and better. So we start off with the worst of the 2 runs. They do flow better, I agree. So you can see kind of. Oh no, that's a different run. Never mind. Oh, by the way, we'll go back to it, right? As you can see right here, it is called the M4 in the international version. It took me 3 shots to kill them, which is normally pretty slow. I don't want that. But I was able to get to here in about 5 seconds. So once the timer hits about 10 seconds, apparently in this case it was 12 seconds. Well, it varies because I was slower, right? Because I was slower with killing these guys. Right? Because it took me an extra shot and whatnot. Yeah, generally speaking, you want to get this by like the 1.5 second mark. That took me a little bit slower. So I throw the stun grenade, classic strategy, and I run in here. Yep, I killed a few people, but not too many. Alright, I tried to stab that guy, but failed, which cost me a second or so. So in this strategy, I went for the shotgun explosive one, and assault rifle tried to take them out. Stab that guy in the hallway because he's obviously in the way. I was slow on this one, and I didn't reload, which cost me a bunch of time on this one. As you can see here, it looked like I finished the reload animation, but I didn't, so I still had to stab the guy who was in the way. And yeah, see, this is what I was referring to earlier. There's a bunch of people all over the bottom of the stairs. Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 people, which is why last time when I picked up the striker, I switched to the striker, because I thought there would be a bunch of people here, but there wasn't. Yeah, there was a bunch of people here in my way. I was like, I gotta kill at least one of them, so that's what I did. Once again, running over here, I got stuck on that, which cost me like maybe 0.5 seconds. But just like usual, I breached through, and I did it fast enough that I skipped the animation. That was 1 minute 3 seconds. I think this one's like 59 seconds. Spoiler. Yep, that was a simple, easy one. This one I went with just sticking with the AR. Like I said, you can just stick with the AR if you need to. There's a number of different strategies with a number of different advantages and disadvantages. This one I went for the kills on that one, because they were all pretty well lined up. There's a guy in the way, shot him, shot him, shot him. And I did a stab, that cost me like about 1.5 seconds, which I'm disappointed about. Went and picked up the striker, but it only has 4 shots. I'll mention this, right? Picking up this striker right here, it's seemingly random how much ammo you get. So if you're lucky, you'll get like most of your mag full, or tube or whatever. It's mostly full. But in this case, I was unlucky. I only had 4 shots, which is, like I said, unlucky, because the odds of getting it only 4 is really bad. And because of that, this forced me to have to pick up the F2000 because reloading would be way too slow, so I had to go over here and pick up the F2000 and just start no-scoping with it. This guy was in the way, so I shot him. Sometimes shooting him is faster than stabbing. Depends on the weapon you have and how much ammo you have in the weapon. I shot that guy and stunned him. So normally if you are wounded and you go up here, sometimes you have to take cover, because if you go up here, you'll die because they're shooting at you. But in this case, I did get very lucky, and nobody was able to shoot me. I jumped over that perfectly, and I went for the destroy. 59.1 seconds. So yeah, that's it. That's the end of the explanation kind of video thing. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you later.